Good evening. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about motivation because it's a big thing within your game. How do I stay motivated? How do I get motivated to do something? I get that question a lot in my coaching practice. People wanting to be motivated to do things that they don't really feel like doing or they don't really want to do. Like for example, um, cleaning your place and getting really organized. Okay, that could be something. Maybe your place is disorganized and it's hindering your life. Can't have, you know, people over like you would want. Can't have people over unannounced because, you got too much clutter, too much stuff, and it just seems like this insurmountable task. You got to go through your stuff. But what does that person want? So the client says, how do I get motivated? How do I get myself to be able to clean this mess up and then so I can keep it clean? The idea is that I know that I could keep it clean. It'd be easier to keep it clean, but how do I get it there when I have all of this stuff that's just accumulated? That could be an example, right? Well, what is that example? That person wants to have the clean place, but they don't really want to have to clean. That's what's going on, right? So they want the results of something, but they really don't want to do what it takes to get that result. Okay. So this is common though. This happens. And here's the thing on that. Here's the thing on motivation, right? Is that motivation is good. It can help prevent burnout. It'll help you get things done and help you get things done better, more efficiently, feel good while you're doing it. But really, motivation is mostly feeling good while you're doing something. It's not actually doing the thing. It's not necessarily reaping the benefits of the results. Now, being in a winning mind state and physical state, like a physical state of a winner, being in an emotional state of somebody who's going to win, right? So state management and that kind of motivation, feeling like you can take on the world. There's a lot you can get done when you have that mindset. So I'm not taking what I'm about to say isn't going to take away from that fact. Getting into an elevated state is very beneficial for getting things accomplished that you want to accomplish, right? Even if they're things you don't want to do. And there's a lot of ways to get into that. But generally speaking, the tools that I'll give somebody to get pumped up and motivated has to do with usually breath work and doing different kinds of breath work to get into an elevated state versus a calming state like with meditation. So we can use our breath in order to get pumped up, to get motivated. All right. And we can use physical movement as well. Okay. So if we change our pattern or physiological state, we can put ourselves in a motivated winning state. So that's a good thing to be able to do. That being said, being in that state isn't the actual actions themselves that you need to take to get the thing accomplished you want to accomplish or to meet your goal or to have the benefits that you hope to reap from your efforts. Like, for example, cleaning your house out or something, right? Getting in a real pumped up state isn't a bad thing, but it's not going to clean your place for you. You still have to do the action to clean the place. All right. And sometimes, if you always have to get pumped up to do something, the there can be a diminished return on that because there's something called intrinsic and extrinsic reward. And if you have to get yourself like motivated and excited extrinsically every time in order to try to do something, what happens is the activity itself, like for example, something as mundane as cleaning, becomes less and less and less motivating for you to do, less and less rewarding. Okay. If you're rewarding yourself extrinsically, which means afterwards, and getting yourself pumped to try to do something, it can actually make the actual activity harder sometimes to get going because sometimes you really don't want to do that cleaning. There isn't really much an amount of pumping up you can do to get yourself there. So what do? Well, what do you do when you are just not pumped up to do something? Right? What do you do? How do you handle it? Well, here's the thing on that. Like, motivation has nothing to do with the action itself. Like, motivation, being pumped or feeling good about doing something, isn't the same as actually doing the thing. All you have to do is actually do the thing, right? If you do the thing, then you'll reap the benefits. If you clean your place, you'll reap the benefits of a clean place. It doesn't matter if you want to or you don't want to. Okay. So I think my point in this is, because there's going to be other videos where we talk about getting pumped up, right? And getting in a elevated state so you can have a winning mindset. And there's all that stuff, and it's valuable. But sometimes you just have to fucking do stuff and suck it up and stop crying about it and stop being a whiny bitch and stop making excuses and just do the thing. Like, sometimes you just suck it up, you recognize I don't want to do it, and you do it. So, interesting military examples of this. Pretend, let's take a bunch of different ones. You could be in basic training, the drill sergeant yells at you, "Hey, we're doing this right now." And, none of the guys, you and none of the guys want to do it, what he's saying. And let's say you're going to go outside and, do some bunch of details, pick up trash out of a field, who knows, right? Something stupid, right? Yeah. Nobody wants to go do that. Nobody's pumped up, nobody's excited, but you're going to do it anyways. Motivation has nothing to do with it. Being excited about doing, you know what I mean? It has nothing to do with it. We're going to do the action of whatever it was that you were told to do by a drill sergeant, because that's your job. That's what you're going to do. Same if you're in special forces selection or RASP or something, and they wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning after having several days of low sleep and say, "Okay, grab your ruck, let's go." And now you're about to do a ruck march in the middle of the dark. All right, 0300. You're gonna do a ruck march, 3 a.m. and no idea how long this is gonna last. No idea what else they're gonna make you do. Right? Do you think anybody in that scenario wants to put on that ruck and get outside in formation and get ready and then start moving, start rucking for however many miles they say you're going to do it? Do you think anybody wants to do that? Well, the answer is nobody. Nobody wants to do that. Everybody would rather be sleeping. Okay. But what happens is you fucking do it anyway. You see what I'm saying? So I think there's just too much focus in this day and age about feelings and having to feel good about doing things or whatever. You don't have to feel shit. You just have to do it. All right. Now, I mean, it sounds like a just do it thing, or I don't know. This sounds really simplistic, but it is very effective. It's very effective. All right. And not only that, when you do things that you don't want to do, you actually develop your brain. They've done recent research and they've found that with brain development, when you do things that you don't want to do, that are hard, it makes it easier and more rewarding for you to do it the next time and the next time and the next time. The more things you do that are hard and that you don't want to do, that you don't feel like doing, the more discipline you develop at a neurological level. It's not just willpower, willing yourself to do something. It's actual discipline. Discipline, by definition, is doing, being able to do things that you don't want to do. All right. Um, in a sense, discipline is being able to do stuff that you don't really want to do at the time, but you do it anyway. And so you develop this discipline at a brain level. So when you are feeling not motivated to do something, like clean your house or whatever, right? By making yourself do it, you're helping your brain develop so that you can do harder things in the future. So that should be motivating too. Well, I'm just going to do it because by doing it, not only do I get the results of a clean place in the example of cleaning, not only do I get results of the clean place, but I also get the results of training my brain. You see, so while making yourself do hard shit, you train it. So there's something called the intrinsic reward. When you make yourself do something you don't want to do, what happens is you start movement into the activity. In the beginning, it's like, this sucks, I don't want to do it. But once you get moving and going, it can start to become intrinsically rewarding, which means the brain is feeling a sense of reward by continuing to do the activity. And that's the sweet spot. That is the key to really success, because successful people, particularly when they're starting off on something, have to put time, effort, energy into things that they would rather not do. They have to learn how to do that. They have to learn how to have that will, that discipline to do the actions they need to take in order to get what they want. And the more you practice doing that, the more capable your brain is going to be to, help you do that. So you're building your brain's capability by doing these hard things and things that you don't want to do. And you're training your brain to find the reward in the activity versus getting pumped up for the activity or giving yourself a treat at the end. You see what I'm saying? You actually train your brain to feel a sense of satisfaction doing something that's difficult or hard, just while you're doing the activity. Now, you want to really help your brain along in getting that ability. You want to do more what's called no-mindedness activities. This is where let's say you're going to sweep out your garage. Okay. Well, you're going to clear your mind. You can clear out the noise, be in silence, and just be in the action of sweeping. Be in the moment in action of sweeping out that garage. No, nothing else. If other thoughts travel into your brain, you push those thoughts out, you let those thoughts pass by, and you're just focused on no mindedness, no thought, just sweeping in action. You want to fully get into that action. What does this do for you when you do this intentionally? Well, what it does is it trains your brain to do hard things easier. It trains your brain to be able to do things you don't want to do easier. So everybody wants to get, what's the feel good drug? What kind of pill can I take? What kind of, can you hypnotize me, Paul? So that I can, because I am a master hypnotherapist. So people want me to hypnotize them so that they feel good doing something they don't want, like sales calls or paperwork or whatever, exercise, And here's the thing, you're going about it all wrong. You're trying too hard to avoid pain instead of thinking of how can I use this pain to my advantage. How you use the pain to your advantage is you make yourself do something and make yourself go through the pain of having to do something you don't want to do, so it strengthens your brain so that you have less of a sense of pain for doing hard things later. Okay? When you do no-mindedness activity, at first you're going to be like, but I want to think about stuff. I want to, I feel like I'm wasting my time now sweeping this garage. I want to play some music. I want a podcast. I want to listen to this. I want to talk, I want to be in my head and be in my thoughts and all that stuff. So blah, 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 blah. You just want to erase your thoughts all the time. And Sometimes it's okay to brainstorm. It's okay to let your consciousness flow. But there's other times when you want to train your brain. And maybe no mindedness activity when you're sweeping out your garage floor, or when you're cleaning something up, right? Or when you're, driving. Could be something as simple as that. Taking a walk. Try taking a walk and just take in the outside world with no thought. Clear your mind, no music, no conversation, no thoughts. Thoughts come in, you forget about them as soon as they get into your mind, and have no mindedness. Do that for 10, 15 minutes. When you do these types of things, you're training your brain to be able to have more discipline. You're training your brain to be able to have a sense of joy from doing activities and actions that maybe you don't want to do. What you guys have been doing instead, because you have technology available, and we're in the year 2025. What everybody's been doing, what you've probably been doing, is you've been training your brain to be distracted. You've been training your brain to be filled with a lot of useless thoughts. You're training your brain to put yourself into an anxious state, or into a state of avoidance, or into a state of not taking the right action, because you're allowing so many distractions, you're training your brain to chase highs like a drug addict, chase good feelings. And instead of thinking, well, how can I use discomfort or bad feelings to strengthen my mind, to make myself more resilient, to make myself more disciplined, right? And I'm not talking about, having destructive or self-destructive thoughts or anything like that, but bad feelings like, I don't really feel like doing these sales calls today. I don't really feel like, doing this administrative work I need to do today. Well, maybe do it anyways. Maybe stop trying to avoid the pain of doing something that's, not very fun for you, doesn't feel good to do, and actually say, well, this sucks, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to find a way, just through by making myself do it. I'm going to force my brain to find joy and to find peace in doing these things I don't want to do. And then all of a sudden, my mind is going to be stronger. I'm going to be more disciplined. I'm going to be more resilient. And I'm going to be more capable and able to get more things done. And I'm going to be more of an asset to myself and to others. It's just a different way of thinking. Okay. And so discipline is something that a lot of people don't have. And so this is something that you want to be able to develop. Doing hard things when you don't want to do them is a way to develop discipline. Doing no-mindedness activities, you know, get on a motorcycle, think of nothing and go. Get on a surfboard or a skateboard and just skate or surf. Go swimming, go for a run. Exercise is a great way to get into no-mindedness. Doing chores, doing mundane work. And then do that. Do that once a day. You're going to train your brain to be more resilient. The research shows it. Okay. It's been well researched. It works. And this is how you're going to have more discipline in your life. Hopefully you got value. Hopefully you got value out of this video. If you're a guy and you want to get even more value to crushing it in life and doing well with the ladies in your relationships and doing well with coming into your own dominant masculine self, you might want to get on my community. It's free. We can keep each other accountable there. There's a lot of good things that get posted. There's free courses in there as well. Just click the link and make sure you support the channel. This channel is a new concept. Now go be more disciplined. Go do some shit you don't want to do. All right, take care.